here's my review of Wonder Man. I'm just gonna say it. This show really surprised me. I did not expect to like it as much as I did. And for once, this feels like a Marvel show that actually knew what it wanted to be and committed. And that's what I liked so much about this. Where, yes, this is a superhero show, but there's not really that much action. It really is about our lead, Wonder Man, Simon Williams, who is an aspiring actor who he hears about a remake of one of his favorite childhood movies, Wonder Man, and he wants to play Wonder Man. And at the same time, he teams up with Ben Kingsley's character, Trevor Slattery, the fake Mandarin. And the chemistry between these two is just insane. It really makes you think, looking back at the MCU, how the Mandarin character, like, a lot of people were upset at the twist when Iron Man 3 came out. A lot of people were upset at the twist. I wasn't really into movies nearly as much. I wasn't as big as, I wasn't really into, I didn't really follow the MCU. But it's crazy how a lot of people hated that, which I get, even though I do like Iron Man 3. But how Trevor, even though he was only in Iron Man 3, Shang-Chi, in this show, he's a genuinely really good character. And what they've done with him, I really like. Like, their friendship is what makes this show. And it just is such an oddball pairing that it works. And I'm just going to get into, like, everything. Very early on, we find out that Trevor, like, at the end of episode 1, we find out that Trevor is working for the DODC, the Department of Damage Control, because they see Simon as a threat. And because of that, you sense this, like, oh no, what is really going on here? Because, of course, if he doesn't, I mean, he is a terrorist after all. He will get sent back to jail, and he doesn't want to go to jail. And it kind of just makes, like, every scene with them just have that heartbreak to it. Like, there's a scene where Trevor meets Simon's family, and they're just so loving and welcoming. And you could see how Trevor slowly, like, he is really becoming friends with him. And it's really just something that is so bizarre, the fact that this is what the show is, but I just really dug it. And as for the whole thing of Simon trying to hide his powers, we find out why superpowers are banned because of an episode called The Doorman, which focuses on this guy who had superpowers, who and Josh Gad is playing Josh Gad himself, and he discovers him because he was at a nightclub, and his power is he could basically make his body through a door, and people could go through him. And because of that, he becomes really popular, and then quickly becomes this rising star. And it's such a weird, out there bottle episode, but it provides context to the show, and it's all done really well because you see this guy, his rise to fame and just eventual downfall, where, he keeps making, Doorman sequels, and they're not good. It's just the same thing. And it's like a weird, like, premise, but it just shows how he quickly becomes famous and almost arrogant until it backfires on him, until one day Josh Gad tries to go through him doing this bank heist, and he doesn't come out. And it's just like, this was all done, like, I believe it was like 30, 40 minutes. But it was just a short little episode, but it was so engaging. All of it was in black and white, like they do for a lot of these flashback episodes or anything like that. And I couldn't help but just get very invested. I will say, unless I missed something, I am kind of confused on how Simon actually got his powers. I don't know if he was born with them or if it's a mutation. Maybe I missed something because they do a flashback where they discover, like, something's off about him. But I don't recall them ever explaining exactly how he got his powers. But I still think also the flashback scenes with him as a kid and his parents were great. Like, the scenes that you could tell what made him fall in love with movies was when his dad took him to see Wonder Man. And you could see just how he fell in love with movies, and then because his dad died, it just made him want to pursue acting, because that's what he also just remembers about his dad, is watching movies with him. And I thought that was beautiful. And we learn very early on, like, how Trevor is working with the DODC. And he'll go back to jail, which I already said. But I think because of that, it just adds, it makes each more scene with them just more impactful because you know he's collecting information on him and they're studying him. And it just makes you care. Like, there's a scene when Simon finally finds out what Trevor's doing, and he just is, it's so much sadness, and he just almost destroys like a whole set. But because their relationship was built up so well, the emotion comes off so real. It feels like there's genuinely great payoff. And I'm just glad that the show didn't devolve into stuff that Marvel normally does with their finales of this huge action spectacle, because it didn't. Kind of. And you feel so bad when Trevor goes back and he sees like what Simon did after he figured out his secret. And just I was genuinely just so sad because I love these characters together and how great they were. And I think that that just proves like great character writing. That's what this show has. It just makes me fall in love with these characters. And I didn't expect to. I didn't really expect, because like Trevor, I like Trevor as a character. I liked him in Iron Man 3. I thought he was funny. Same with Shang-Chi. But here, there's just emotional depth in the moments where Trevor and Simon are just discussing what it is to be an actor, why they love acting, and like how Trevor wanted to be an actor when he saw a movie when he was a kid. It's just beautiful, and how it like reminds him of his mother. It's just great. Like, this show has so many surprisingly emotional moments that I just loved. It really is the Simon and Trevor show, and I didn't expect to love the Simon and Trevor show as much as I did. Just their chemistry is just so top notch. And I think that the ending to this show was also just so great. It was so beautiful. Where after Wonder Man, after Simon knows what Trevor did and how he's spying on him and working for the DODC and causes that huge explosion, he puts on a recording, resumes the Mandarin, and he said, "Yes, that was me. I'm the Mandarin. I did it." And he took the fall for him because he's a genuinely great friend. And like I said, I was genuinely moved. I was like, wow, that's great. I loved that scene. I it was just emotional to me. I thought it was really well done because their friendship was so done throughout the show. It was so well done. And then when Trevor betrayed Simon, I felt hurt. And when he came back to help his friend, and when he did something, putting himself in jail, that was just so beautiful. Although Simon does eventually break him out of jail, where he gets a job as like a security guard, and he breaks him out of jail. And the show ends with him finally being able. Well, this part technically kind of comes before, where he finally does get cast as Wonder Woman. The movie comes out, it's good, and then it ends with him breaking him out. But I just loved it. I thought it was done really well. So overall, I'm just gonna say it. This show was a genuinely great surprise to me. I thought it was a pleasant surprise. I enjoyed it way more than I thought it would. This feels like a show that knew what it wanted to be and it committed. There's not like some big villain. I mean, there's the DODC, but even then, it's not. It's more of like a looming threat. You really are just get to spend time with Simon and Trevor and get to know these characters, which I just thought was great. This show really exceeded my expectations. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And yeah, it was really good. I was very pleasantly surprised. And I loved how also this show just speaks on like the love of movies, the love of acting, and just the craft. And seeing a show or a movie about people who genuinely express such passion for what they love, I always find to be moving. So yeah, I thought this show was a pleasant surprise.